Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about what happened yesterday on my video about how dual destiny was a mistake, because a lot of people who replied to me, who are now hidden from the channel and blocked, obviously just didn't even watch the video, or are so elitist that they cannot comprehend that the majority of people in the community cannot do the things that they do. And that to me is very sad. However, before I get into it, I just want to say all the people who are leaving those nice comments and talking about their experiences as a solo player, I appreciate you. I see you. I'm trying to reply to all the comments, but there are quite a lot. I'm going to hopefully get around to them all, but just know that I understand how you are feeling. So let me talk about why I made that video yesterday. For views. Controversy is cool. No, I'm just kidding. There are actual people in this world who turned around in my comments and said that to me, that I was just trying to create controversy for views. First and foremost, let me just say straight up, I've made so much money from this channel. I've been doing it for 10 plus years on Destiny alone. I don't need to have views anymore. I'm nearly 40 years old. I don't give a crap about getting views and money off YouTube. It's nice and I'll always welcome it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to potentially ruin my channel by doing something like that just to try and get a few views on one video. My views have been pretty good for the past couple of weeks. I'm very happy with where my channel is, but however, I wanted to talk about it from a logical point of view, which is my point of view, because for those who don't know, I am autistic, as well as being a mostly solo casual player. So let me try and break that down for you and what that means in terms of what I was talking about on that video. One of the major components of autism in general, but specifically for me, is sensory overwhelming. And fundamentally what this means is when there's a lot of things going on within any kind of situation, it impacts me in a detrimental way. When I get sensory overwhelmed, I can hear the electric in light bulbs. I can hear the electric in plug sockets, plug outlets. My skin starts to itch. My insides feel like someone is trying to escape from the inside out using a hot metal item of some sort and is pressing it against the inside of my body. When stuff like that happens and I get sensory overwhelmed, I need to recover. Sometimes in my life, it's taken me a week to recover from a heavy sensory overwhelming situation. And what happens during that recovery time is basically I can't have lights turned on. I can't really have TVs in front of me. I can't really play games. I can't really talk to people or socialize or go outside. And all of the anxiety and sensory overload is tenfold worse when I'm talking to people I've never met before, strangers, people who I don't trust, people who I don't feel safe around. So that's why I struggle with talking to new people. That makes a lot of problems for quote unquote real life, such as having a job. Now recently I had 2 jobs at the same time prior to just coming back to YouTube for the final shape. Now I'm not going to get into the logistics of it. One of them was a temporary job. On day 1, when I had to go in and meet new people and learn, the things that I needed to do, I asked them ahead of time, because I'm autistic, if I could work 1 day and then have 3 days off. And I told them why. I told them that because of the sensory overwhelming that I will feel, I'll need a couple of days to recover. They reluctantly agreed. And that first day for me was very, very difficult. I didn't really fully recover before my next day at work, which was after those 3 days were up. 2 months later, when it was time to see whether I got the job or not, they released me. Now, they'll never say it because it's illegal, but it was definitely because of my disability. They did not want to deal with the things that I needed. They didn't want to make the adjustments because that's how businesses work. I don't take it personally. I understand how the world works. However, imagine how difficult that is for someone to have a quote unquote normal life, all because they need to protect themselves and their mental health so that they don't have meltdowns and breakdowns and end up really with exceptionally bad mental health to the point where their life just doesn't seem like living. Because I've been in that situation many times in my life. And let me tell you, I believe that I am very lucky that the traits that I have are manageable to a certain extent. And this is just talking about autism, because I know a lot about autism, and I'm not even including the multitude of disabilities that affect multiple people. I'm not equipped to talk about that, but I can understand exactly what people are going through with it, because I go through it myself every single day. Now let's take that real world stuff and apply it to Destiny, because apparently that can't be done. The amount of comments I got yesterday was like, oh, this social anxiety thing, you know, it's a video game, it's online. Okay, let me explain to you why it's so difficult for me and other people in my situation to actually find a group. First and foremost, the looking for group in this game is utterly awful. People are leaving comments like, oh, I use it all the time. I guarantee you that you are either lying, or you found a couple of people that you used and then became friends with them because you were very lucky to find good players and then became friends with them so you could keep playing with them. I'm not saying that people can't do that. However, the success rate of actually finding people to play with through looking for group is astronomically small. The actual typical experience with LFG is horrific, and if you think anything else, you are just lying. You're just straight up lying. There are so many people who talk about how horrible the looking for group is. One, it's incredibly time consuming to find those few people that you could potentially play with and complete a mission with. It could take 3-4 hours just to find one person competent enough and you can trust to talk to be able to actually finish a mission. And two, for people with social anxiety, a lot of their fears are based in not being good enough for people. That's where most of the fears come from. So if you try to join LFGs and you keep getting kicked for not being a high enough power level, not having the right loadout, for any multitude of reasons that people kick people from LFGs, what do you think that's going to do to that person with social anxiety? You think they're just going to be, oh shucks, let's go again? No, they're going to be absolutely devastated to a point that you cannot comprehend because you don't go through it. And the comments that I was getting yesterday of people saying, well, I do it. Congratulations. Let me stand up and clap for you. You don't suffer with the issues that I'm talking about. Great. I'm so happy for you. But you cannot use that as a defense to try and force other people to go and do it, because you don't struggle with the things that we're talking about. And those people who just say, oh, just do it, just do LFG. I have used an LFG before. I was trying to do something that I'd never done before that I didn't understand. I got into this team eventually after, I think it was about 2.5 hours of trying to join other teams and getting kicked out during the lobby screen because I wasn't high enough power, I assume, or I didn't have the right loadout because I didn't have any DPS weapons or anything at that point. And every single LFG post is know what you're doing. The one time I got into a group with people, I told them, I was like, look, I haven't played in a couple of years. I said, I need to just kind of know what to do. I was like, I catch on quickly. And, if you just show me briefly what to do, you won't have to worry about me. They kicked me instantly. Now, for most people, it's like, oh, just carry on, just do it. I couldn't, because my social battery had been so depleted already before joining that group that my anxiety was through the roof. And then when I got kicked, I didn't play Destiny for 2 days because of the impact it had on me and my mental health. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to comprehend that. You don't even have to understand that, but you cannot sit there and tell other people what to do when you have no idea what it's like to struggle with these things. The other comment that I saw was, oh, this mission is great, it shouldn't be changed. I never said for it to be changed. I just asked for different ways for solo players to get the rewards. Like, for instance, as I said, opening the Pale Heart chests. When another team beat it for the first time, everybody gets access to the chests, and people are like, oh, that just makes it too easy to get things for people. Again, you haven't actually went and grinded chests because you have people to play the mission with. Those chests are a absolute ball ache. I grinded it yesterday for 6 hours and got 4 class items, and all 4 of them were completely useless. The perks that rolled together just didn't work. And yet you would rather deny people the chance to grind and farm like that because you want to protect your mission. Your mission can still stay there and be exactly the same as it is right now. How solo players get the equipment doesn't affect you whatsoever. I've been around Destiny community for a long time. I was there day one making videos. Arguably, I was part of the first group of content creators that created this community. I have seen all the elitist and toxic bullshit that is put out every single day to every single video that I made, as well as other people too. And it's something so unique to the Destiny community because of the situation, because of how the game works. People just seem to think that because they're playing 18 hours a day and doing all the raids by themselves, blah, 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 that everyone else should be able to do that as well. You're a horrible, terrible person if you act like that, especially if you act like that in real life. And let's talk about raids and dungeons, because that was another comment that was thrown at me a lot. Oh, you don't like raids and dungeons then? Should they be removed? Should they be banned? No, I never said that. I never said this mission should be banned. In fact, I said this mission was incredible from start to finish. But people don't want to listen to that kind of stuff. But the great thing about this is that people will throw around that Destiny is an MMO. Destiny has never been classed as an MMO, by the way. It's not a massively multiplayer online game. It's a game where a lot of people play online and sometimes meet each other in their social bubbles that are included in the game. It's not an MMO. It's just got MMO-like qualities. There is actual evidence that a lot of this stuff, specifically dungeons and even some raids, can be soloed. You don't need a team to complete it. Is it very hard and very challenging? Absolutely. But that's the point. It gives solo players the option to learn to do that and then get the rewards for it. Will the majority of solo people do that? Absolutely not. But people seem to think that this is about spoon feeding solo players. No, because our challenges are a lot harder in the game than yours, because we have to do everything on our own solo. So we miss out already on a lot of things. Like, I would love to go and get a Zaoli's Bane. Can't get it because I don't have a team. And most things like raids and dungeons, we just push to the side because we know we're never going to find a team for it, and we focus on other stuff in the game. But ultimately, those things in raids and stuff don't really affect your game as a whole. Exotic class items do. They're very important and intrinsic to making builds that work for you so that you can make your solo content a little bit more pliable and wanting to actually change and learn and grow and be a different player. Exotic class items are a very, very important part of that. And the one last thing I want to talk about is the amount of people who were like, oh, imagine, you know, playing a cooperative game and expecting there to be a solo mission. All right. Exotic missions can be soloed. Dungeons can be soloed. Raid encounters can be soloed. There is precedent there for things to be soloed. But on top of that, let's talk about the idea that Bungie sold the idea of these class items to everybody. They didn't mention that, you know, you have to be in a duo, which is something they could have very easily done during the advertisement, but they know that most people would have been upset by that and wouldn't have bought the DLC. So they advertised these exotic class items, got people to pay a lot of money for a DLC, and then lock them out by putting it behind a dual mission. And as we spoke about in this video, it's not something they can just do. So let me take it into something silly. Let's say that I advertised you the best pepperoni pizza in the world, the most delectable pepperoni pizza in the world, and it costs $20. You come into my restaurant, you give me that $20, you sit down, you're excited to get that pepperoni pizza into your body. I bring you out a cheese pizza. You look at me and I'm like, oh, to get the pepperoni, you need to have a partner with you. That's a problem, isn't it? You'd be very upset. You paid for something that you expected to get, which was the pepperoni. You didn't get it. And now for you to actually have that delectable, delicious pizza, you have to go and find someone to come to the restaurant with you and sit down, but you've already paid your $20. So what happens now? Do you just eat your pizza and get on with it? Do you ask for a refund? Do you get mad? Do you get upset? Do you get frustrated? If you cannot understand the points in my last video and this video, then seriously, you have no empathy. But I really do hope to God that somewhere down the line you grow up and understand that people go through things that you don't go through, and you learn to understand those people, because the world is a very, very diverse place. And if you cannot figure out how to interact properly with these people, you are going to be the person who struggles in life. But that's about it. Thanks for the new subscribers. I love you guys. I hope that you understand that I see you and that I understand you, and that I really do hope things change for us in the future. But I'm very lucky in a lot of ways, so I felt like I needed to say this on a video, because a lot of other content creators are just basically sucking up to Bungie. But you'll never get that here. I'm always real, I'm always honest, I'm always bluntly honest, actually, probably to my own detriment. But anyway, thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.